We have a special guest I want to welcome to the EIB network, the ranking Republican on the House Budget Committee, Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, who really got the ball rolling today on the fraud that was the early release of CBO numbers, clear estimates, wild guesses. Congressman, thanks for carving some time. I know you're swamped today.
Hey, great. Good to be with you. Long-time listener, first-time caller, right?
That's great. Tell us what's going on with this. We know the CBO number is basically a fraud designed to persuade some wavering
That's right.
blue dogs, but what's the real state? It seems to me like they don't have the votes. They're getting further away. It seems like a fire drill going to work.
Right. So they needed to pile on some more spending to try and assuage, the liberals and the progressives. So they basically put the screws on Medicare, more Medicare cuts, more tax increases to accommodate the extra spending they had to add on this thing. They got a new 3.8 tax on interest, dividends, annuities, royalties, and rents for people. They increased taxes on the Medicare payroll tax, and they did more penalties on businesses if they don't offer the kind of health insurance Kathleen Sebelius tells them they have to offer. So more taxes, more Medicare cuts to pay for more spending to try and get these votes.
Is there a reconciliation bill? Is there something you've seen? Because the CBO said they can't score it because it's an estimate. Is there anything to vote on yet? No,
we have not seen anything, but because they started leaking out their numbers that they manipulated, CBO was forced to release their estimates. So we've seen a CBO estimate, but we've not seen the bill that they're estimating.
Is there one?
Well, they must have draft of something for CBO to give these estimates. So we have not seen a bill, but clearly they have a draft, because the way it works is you send CBO drafts, they give you scores from it. And so now we've seen a score of this draft, and by looking at the CBO score, I'm able to tell you, what the tax increases and the Medicare cuts are.
Well, aren't they double counting Medicare anyway, rendering that $940 billion number irrelevant?
Correct, it's not. They double count Class Act premiums, they double count Social Security taxes, they double count $500 billion, actually $522 billion in Medicare cuts to make this thing look as if it's adding up.
Now, explain to people how that happens. When I say double counting, I know when they're double counting $500 billion Medicare cuts, what are they actually doing with it?
So they're cutting $500 billion out of Medicare. That's supposed to go to Medicare and make it solvent, but they're using it instead as a piggy bank to pay for this new program. So they're taking it from Medicare, but at the same time they're claiming they're extending Medicare's solvency. So they're counting those cuts twice when, in fact, they're using this money to create a new entitlement. Then they have all these tax increases, which the dollars for these tax increases are already spoken for Social Security, for this new entitlement for long-term care called the Class Act, which are spoken for those programs, but they're counting it to fund this new program. So they're basically saying, we're going to spend in both places the same dollar, which the CBO is telling them you can't do that.
Did I see so many people making estimates? Did I see you statements that you think they're 10 votes short?
Yeah, that's what we think. So it's really so fluid. It's basically they're at least a handful, maybe two handfuls short. This is a fluid situation. We've moved two people from the yes column to the no column. A Curie from New York, Lynch from Massachusetts, we believe, are two people who went from yes to no. But as you know, yesterday they flipped a couple from no to yes. So it's a fluid situation. They're clearly down. They don't have the votes. The president wouldn't be postponing his trip if he didn't think if they were still shy. He'd be.
Yeah. He wanted to leave. He wanted to leave Sunday. He could still leave Sunday if they were going to vote. So does this mean they're not going to be a vote Sunday, likely?
I think there is going to be a vote likely. That's what our Democratic colleagues are telling us. But they know they don't have the votes, and they think they can just create sort of a pressure cooker situation to pressure their members to voting with the quote-unquote team and bring this over the finish line.
President said last night in his interview with Brett Baer that this whole thing is going to get posted, that he'll find out what's in it when it gets posted, and we'll all be able to find out. It's going to be posted for 72 hours. That's, I think, you referred to these two votes that they gained yesterday as two guys in Central Valley of California are going to turn the water back on for them.
That's right.
But you haven't seen a piece of legislation that does that.
No.
It can't possibly be posted for 72 hours if it's going to be voted on Sunday.
That's exactly right. So something's going to have to give. Either they're going to violate their pledge in 72 hours, or they're going to vote later than Sunday, and the president, will postpone his trip more.
Well, he's already announced he's going to postpone the trip, and that's why a lot of people are thinking they're not going to vote Sunday, or at least they don't have the votes now to do it. So, well, it does remain fluid, and we're fortunate we were able to get through to you with all the phones being clogged there. But
I tell you, it's amazing. And I just ran into a busload of seniors who came up here for one day from Florida to walk the halls and talk to members of Congress. People are engaged unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's truly remarkable and impressive. They got to keep the pressure on. They know if they let their members go home for this Easter recess, they're done. And that means they've got to do it now. And that's why they're trying to put this pressure cooker to try and get their members to do this. And they're starting to lose people, and they don't have the votes. And they're going to try and break arms and muscle this thing through. And the next handful of days will be determine the outcome as whether or not, this bill to basically nationalize the healthcare sector of our economy, succeeds or not.
Well, you're doing yeoman's work here and trying to stop it, and people so proud of you and the meeting you had over the White House. People loved what you said to Obama and the way he looked back at you at that.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm a representative, and the way I look at it is that's exactly what people in southern Wisconsin would have wanted me to say to him.
Well, you did, and keep it up. Everybody's proud of you, and it's supporting what you're doing. That's Paul Ryan, who is the ranking Republican member on the House Budget Committee, with the latest update on the real meaning of the CBO numbers today, what, as best anybody can determine, they mean, and what the future holds. 5 to 10 seats undecided, best count so far, or votes undecided. We'll take a brief break, come back right after this, and move on.